Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Howson's Brew. I've just come in. I've literally just come in as well because I was on the phone a while before we was outside. I didn't get a brew. I just got a glass of Coke. So, all right.
What's happening?
I'm all right. Hang on, Al. You've got a can of Pepsi as well, haven't you?
No, I've got an empty can of here because I'm drinking later. These are the best things of all time.
Is that Pepsi Max Cheddar?
Yeah.
See, I knew Jay'd get excited then.
I reckon I've gone
that's
through...
like my rum.
It's horrendous.
You have rum, I have that as a treat.
Okay. And Casey's also rocking the Pepsi Max as well.
Yep.
Caffeine City.
I'm on the downgraded Diet Coke today.
I ordered myself a new slab of Red Bull over the weekend.
Slab. a pallet of Red Bull.
Someone goes with a forklift.
Normally, it's only 24-hour delivery. And then I was like, right, where is it? Because it's usually here the day after. Thursday. Fucking hell.
You're going to be all right for them?
Hey,
well, I know a man who could drop it off for a fee.
Crate man.
Yeah, Amazon.
Oh. Crate man when I was younger. He used to ring him at like 3 a.m. and he'd come and drop you off a crate of Stella.
Oh, hang on. Has my camera froze?
Yes.
You have,
yes, it has.
Stuck in a pose.
Oh, dear. You've been arguing with people again, Jay, yeah?
Oh, yeah. mate, you lot, right? Since we said this, it's got to work. It's like you're encouraging people. Like, even an innocuous tweet now gets like someone saying something, and I just can't just let it slide. I can't have to say, well, no, you're wrong. You're just wrong.
To be fair, that one was ridiculous today. That's the most ridiculous.
Honestly,
do you know what I mean?
Jay, if you're ever kidnapped, go on your Twitter and just agree with someone, and we'll know you're not okay.
Yes. Well, the thing is, right, I agree with people all the time. I literally spend half my time on Twitter agreeing with people. Go, yeah, oh, Yap Stan was mint. Roy Keane's great. But then you get just morons who just can't grasp certain things, and I can't just go, I'll just leave it. Just let it go.
That tweet today, though, because there was loads of people putting that. It was like, name a five-a-side team of Spanish players in the Prem or something.
Yeah.
And people are putting like Xavi and Iniesta, and people going, you can't put them. He said, well, it doesn't say they've actually had to play in the Prem. This is to play in the Premiership.
And that doesn't make any sense. And that's what I'm saying.
I know they phrased it wrong, but why would they phrase it that wrong? They wouldn't.
Why mention the Premier League? Why not just say name your best five-a-side Spanish team? It made zero sense. And I was just like, oh, do you know what? And I should have walked away early doors, but I couldn't.
No, but do you know why, Jay? Because you're addicted to arguing with people. You want to learn to get along with people.
I'm in the middle of my kids' schooling, homeschooling, going, wait a minute, just wait. I've got to tweet this guy about this thing he's wrong. Never mind about your maths and your education. Wait.
Who is he? I don't know.
I don't know. Some guy.
I don't know.
Some egg.
Where's he from? Isle of Man. So?
You've got a picture of Gerrard as his thing. I've got to argue.
Do you know what? I nearly fell into the trap, but because I don't argue with people on Twitter, I didn't.
Steve, I know your game. You're having a bit of a sabbatical. Because of this argument we've had, this debate, you stopped doing
the argument over argument.
Yeah, you have. Because there's so many times in the past where you'd have bitten and you're just ignoring it, and I'm thinking, he's a swat.
There was a Liverpool fan tweeted me before.
This is what I mean. Go on, I bet you didn't even reply.
And I didn't, because I don't argue with people on Twitter, Jay. And
I can't help myself.
I was agreeing, because I'm an agreeable kind of guy, with what Pundit Jay put the other day, talking about Pogba. And I was like, Pogba's a fantastic player. Here's some reasons why. And a Liverpool fan, this was such a big fucking fishing rod. A Liverpool fan was like, never won a title, though, has he?
Oh, and you didn't point out.
No. Because I don't argue with people on Twitter, Jay. And then I went to his bio, and it's got Manchester United haven't won a Champions League this decade, was his bio. And I was like, if I was a man that argued with people on Twitter, this is a fucking right bit of bait, isn't it? And for starters, nobody's won a Champions League this decade.
Tag me in that, mate. I'll pick that one.
Jay's your attack dog. Jay's your attack dog. Just let Jay loose.
One argument I've lost is this argument. You win. I do argue more on Twitter, so tag me in it.
Hi, Joe.
Hey, Joe.
Hello.
Hang on. I want to see how squashed up it looks if I do this. Oh, it's not bad.
Oh, I like that.
That's not bad.
It's pretty tight.
I thought, hang on, I'm just going to get rid of Jay a minute. Nope, that didn't work. Get rid of Alex. That's what I thought it'd look like. It didn't. This looks all right, actually.
That's not bad.
We're all over the place.
Hello, everyone.
All right,
Hi,
Joe.
mate.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, just in the studio watching a monkey get his ear cleaned on Comedy Central in the background, and now he's got a jacket on and he's passing bottles of beer to a Russian fella. So classic Russian stuff, really. I suppose.
We need to talk about what we were just talking about before we went on air because I'm too excited.
Okay. Well, I suppose this is something that if we don't do it, it doesn't really let the fans down, does it? It lets us down. So
No,
that's all
let's
right.
us down.
No, I want to build a pub at work.
Can we get an actual license to sell beer as well?
No. It's a Freeman's bar. So anyone who's our guest that comes in are able to just get a drink because then you don't have to get a license because I think there's nothing against giving away beer for free. And we can have a pub. Basically, there's a room at the back of our office where is a kitchen. We don't need a kitchen because if we get what we're supposed to be getting, we've got 2 kitchens and nobody needs 2 kitchens. That's a waste. But you do need a kitchen and a pub. And I mean a pub. I don't mean a bar. I don't mean an optics. I mean a fucking pub.
Yeah. Doormat, seats, ashtrays,
Neons, bar top, bar stools.
Bartender.
Who's going to be the pub bore?
Callum.
No.
He won't be there.
He's
He
below
doesn't drink
pub
beer.
bore. Yeah, you'd have to
He's below
venture out.
pub bore. Probably
Pub
Adam.
bores are pretty interesting. They're just
Probably
boring
Adam.
for a pub.
No, Adam's the alcoholic that sits in the corner.
Yeah.
He's
He
always
won't let
there.
you touch the jukebox. He's
He's
like,
always there. Well, no. Acting monkeys are on, leave them. And that's what he's doing.
I've queued up 416 songs. They're all Arctic Monkeys. I know.
Yeah.
I did it.
It's all just Glastonbury sets and like Leeds Festival sets from 15 years ago.
Gary St. Clair as the licensee.
Love it.
Yeah, I want a pub. That's all I've been
I'd
thinking
love a
about for the
pub.
last hour.
So it's called Busby's, isn't it? We know that much.
Yeah. If I get a pub, it's being called Busby's. That's like my only rule.
We want to get one of those like hanging signs on it where it's like a drawing, like a nice like oil painting of Matt Busby. Maybe in like sort of military kind of outfit with like a hat and loads of badges.
Anyone who's been into our studio, obviously the studio and the office side's at the front, and then there's like a corridor out the back. And I want to be able to, at some point, when someone goes, "Where's the toilet?" I go, "Just go down the corridor, past the pub, and it's on your left." Just so when someone goes, "What?"
Past the pub.
Yeah, past the pub.
And there's always a bartender there. 8 o'clock in the morning. All right, mate.
Just cleaning glasses. Glasses are the cleanest in Greater Manchester area.
That'd be so good.
It's going to go so far. One day you're walking, there's going to be a guy offering deodorant. It's gonna, aftershave and deodorant and stuff like that.
There's far too much alcohol gets drunk in our office for an office, right? For starters. I don't know what adding a pub to our office means, but for starters, we've been wanting a pubcast, haven't we? We wanted to do a podcast in a pub. What better place than having a pub in your studio?
Make your own pub.
Make your own pub. I want a pub now.
Well, we can't have one yet, Steve. Because
Yeah,
we're not allowed.
it's going to be a while.
Friday then.
Yeah, we'll get you a pub by Friday, okay?
Into.
How's that sound?
I do want a pub.
Do you have a J to own a pub, Jay? I didn't. No pun on Jay there. I didn't mean that. But what do you have?
To be honest with you, I usually just have a Diet Coke or something. I don't know. I have a J, so I'm not fussed.
I like the beard, Jay.
I don't. It's not. It's a lockdown beard. That's all it is. You lot put me in the shade. Everyone on here has got like a proper. Mine's a bit sort of half-hearted.
Yours and Casey's aren't dissimilar.
Casey, yeah, Casey's is a bit.
No offense, Casey.
But you, Steve, and Alex are just different class.
Different gravy.
Yeah,
I like it. I think
this is like a tiered system the way I'm looking at it for beards. Actually,
yeah, it is, isn't it?
I don't know if everyone's the same setup, but
there's a lot of grey appeared, and I've also noticed as well. Oh, by the way, I am not wearing a hat until I get to a barber.
What's going on there?
Look at the grey in the sides.
Yeah.
I got a bit of grey on my beard as well. Yeah,
it's not a good look. Ugh. Not a good look at all. Are we allowed out yet? What? Do you know what? There's been so many little sneaky beaky WhatsApp messages flying around all over the gaff, haven't there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Starting to get a bit cheeky, innit?
Yeah, people are starting to sort of. I mean, it's at the end of this show, isn't it? Basically, is the government sort of thing here. Everyone's sort of expecting them to loosen lockdown a little bit. What do we think is going to happen?
I don't know. Someone was asking us before. I mean, there's even talk. Correct me if I'm wrong here, because I've not been sort of up to speed with it all. But isn't the talk of maybe doing it in ages? Something like around ages. If you a certain age, you can go out.
Mate, we've been in ages, for fuck's sake.
Do you know what I mean? No, like, I don't know. Under 40s are okay, which fucks me. Means I'm still locked down. Or something like that's what I said. But again, I don't know, because I mean, so many conflicting things that I don't know how they're going to do it. They've got to stagger it somewhere, I presume. I presume it's not just like, right, off you go.
I think
did you see the pictures?
if you can work at social distance, then go for it. I think that'll be the next. I think
hasn't that been the case already? That is what it is now.
No, but at the minute, if you can't work from home, then you can go in. But if you can work from home, do it. So I think they might just say if you can start doing a bit more. I don't know. It's honestly, I don't know. Golf could come on soon. That's what I'm looking forward to. Just what a bit.
Do you know what he said to me before? I might start playing golf.
Yeah, I'll play a bit of golf these days. I'll come and play golf with you, Alex, once we're allowed to.
Yeah, from like 2 meter distance, be fine.
Yeah, as long as we both got a pair of gloves on, and I'm going to have to share clubs with you because I ain't got any clubs.
Jay looks like he can't take it anymore. He needs a drink.
Right. Can we establish some rules for when you're allowed to drink again?
No, never.
Why?
Never.
What if United win a treble again?
No. Right. It took me 7 years to recover from last time we won a treble. No.
Are you totally locked out then? Are you in the mindset of I will never have another drink again?
More than likely. Never say never, but more than likely, yeah. Yeah. It
So
was that it was without getting all melodramatic, it was that days at times. And that was without any kids to look after. Do you know what I mean? I've got responsibilities now. And let's face that, it wasn't just drink.
Scale electric as well, wasn't it?
Scale electrics.
Yeah.
Don't drink and drive, even if it's on a miniature scale.
Bloody scale electrics and dominoes. Honestly, it was ruthless. So
no, it's probably for the best by the sound of it.
So do you know what I mean? Don't worry about it. I'm not. I'm still gonna come to your pub and drink J2O.
Rather than
no, you're not, because I'm not going to serve it. Even the water's going to be 15%.
Yeah, rather than finding out what it'll take for Jay to start drinking again, I want to know what it'll take for you to stop drinking.
There's a good, nicely done, Joe. Yeah,
we probably need to maybe drinking would probably be.
Is there anything that could make you do it?
No.
If I told you now, United will win the treble in 2 years, Solskjaer as manager, Rashford scores that trick in the final of the Champions League, but you have to never drink again.
Never drink again, or can I drink the night that we win it? If I stop now and in 2 years I'm allowed to drink that night.
No, okay, here's the thing. You can drink up to then, but once the Champions League final night is finished, midnight, so you've got from 10 p.m. roughly till midnight to drink. After that drink, you're done, but we win the treble in 2 years' time.
Does it end at midnight, or does it end when I stop drinking that night?
It ends when you stop drinking to a maximum of 6 a.m.
Fuck's sake.
So you can't just keep drinking for the rest of your life.
Because I was thinking of Bert Kreischer in it.
Yeah, just never stop drinking.
Just never stop.
You get till 6 a.m. the day after the Champions League final, and then you're done forever.
So I'm going to be 38.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
No. Fuck off. Keep zooming in on me. No, I'm going to say no deal.
What?
No
right,
deal.
that's how big a United fan he is, lads.
Shocking.
Drinking for United.
Shocking.
Unbelievable.
It's good fun, though.
It is good fun. Yeah.
Yeah, but also, you've got to think, if we're a treble winning side, that probably means we've got a couple more titles in us, you'd have thought. So it's probably not just that year worth of quality. We're going to be good for a few years, and it's all up to you, Steen. You've said now.
But
unbelievable.
Me not doing that. Yeah, all right. No offense, Jay. But if we win a fucking another treble and I'm like that on the fucking J2Os, yay.
You would be happy if we won a treble sober.
You'd still be happy.
No, I'd be pretty happy. I was drunk at 15 when we won the treble.
I did 99. I was out of my head, right? Completely. Like, I woke up 4 days later and I remembered what the score was. And but 2008, I wasn't drinking. I'd gone through a stage of not drinking for the double, and it was still a mint night. But I'm not recommending you do that.
Well, I was only 13, 2008, 15, and I didn't drink that.
I drove us all to Old Trafford. We all went down Old Trafford to celebrate.
2008.
I was designated driver. Drove us all down there. And the mint thing was driving down there on the way. I remember, I never forget this. We just won the Champions League. We were league title winners. And I had the radio on. It was a phone in. And this City fan rang in and went, they might have won the Champions League in the league, but we beat them twice this season, so we're the best team in Manchester. And the radio presenter just went, mate, give it a rest. Come on.
Oh, quite cute, really, isn't it?
Behave yourself.
Fucking hell.
I'd definitely take it.
I'm just reading some of the comments. One of the comments is Patterson saying, fuck the kitchen off and make it a bar.
That's exactly what we've said we're doing, mate.
I think Patterson wants two. He doesn't want a kitchen at all. He just wants
hang on. Right. Oh, right, yeah, that's what I was leading to then. So we're going to have a pub and a bar then.
Yeah.
Instead of a kitchen and a pub.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So sometimes you want to drink on the way to the pub, don't you? Pre-drinks at the bar.
Thinking about
have
it,
a couple in the studio to warm up.
And move a fridge into the studio as well, so you can have a pre-drink beer there.
Wait a minute.
What game? A pre-game before you go to the bar, before you go to the pub.
Can I not be bartender then? Because I've done bartending without drinking.
Yeah, you can be a bartender.
Right.
That works. But you've got to taste cocktails, though, haven't you? Yes, we're having cocktails, Steve, despite what you say. Yeah, I like a margarita of a night out.
A margarita? What, you lady friends? All right.
No.
Mate, at Christmas party, I had that fucking glass of rum, right? It was called something like the number 7 special. Do you know what it was? It was a fuck off block of ice, and I mean a block of ice. Like, do you know when you buy a block of cheese? That sort of size where it comes in a fucking thing like this.
Some of the Titanic. Is this what
it was basically like that fucking big ice in a glass, right? Bosh. And then it was 7 different rums. There was no mixer. That was the cocktail. It was just there goes loads of rum in it, and I was like belting, and I was very drunk that night.
Yeah, that was great like that.
Yeah, that's the sort of cocktails we serve. What is it? It's rum.
7
with what?
rums.
6 other types of rum.
Yeah. And I just I'll make myself a margarita then if I have to. We're not allowed to sell pink gin though. That's my only rule. So
no pink gin.
I like a pink gin. Not gonna lie.
I like the pink gin.
My dad's making gin. That's what my dad's doing in lockdown. He's making gin.
That's a great thing to do. Sounds productive.
Hey.
Have you tried it? Really?
No, he's even gone and got his own labels for it.
Quality.
He's imaginatively named it Howson's Gin.
See, all this time you've been talking about getting your own rum, and then your dad just goes.
Dad's just fucking done it, hasn't it?
Yeah.
No messing about.
Less chatting, more, fermenting. That's what I say. I think I think you need to try that, and you need to get us some for the next time we do a watch along, whenever that is.
The gin.
But we need to have a bottle of Howson's gin on it.
You asked us how are you going to stop drinking? I reckon that'll be it when we all.
Do you know in the 1800s? In the 1800s, when they used to have absinthe and it had sort of hallucinogenic qualities, and people used to sort of go to other realms and stuff in Paris. That'll be us.
Be it.
Just like that. For 2 hours, just staring at each other.
ZLT says, hate to be that guy, but director of football. We're only 23 minutes in, for fuck's sake. We'll get to that.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got to get my charge. Give me a sec.
Oh, Pubsy babes.
Oh, nice.
Hey, what happened then? Is that you, Joe?
No. Yeah, I think it'd be great. It'd be great having our own pub. I've always wanted to have a pub without any responsibility of having to worry about customers and stuff.
Exactly. Who's your customers? The fucking piss cans in the office and Jay.
Yeah. It'd be brilliant.
We're going to lose Patterson. Patterson's going to lose days. Is 42's closing?
What? No. Really?
Yeah, I think that's the word.
That's ridiculous.
I read there was a thing that they wanted to convert into offices like a couple of weeks ago.
I thought that was there forever.
Yeah. Interesting fact, used to be George Best's. Used to own it.
Really?
What was it called when George Best owned it? Judging by everyone's face when they all went, really? I guess none of you know. Let me Google it.
No, I didn't know that.
My mum always tells me it used to be owned by George Best. I can't think what it's called.
I bet she does.
It's 25 past 4 on a Monday.
It was called. You ready? It's a fucking top name as well. Slack Alice's.
Oh,
yeah. And his mum's called
that.
Alice, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, now you said it.
How is Alice, our kid?
Sorry, Casey, we're only joking. When was that then? In the 80s or 90s?
I was probably watching this in the other room.
1963. Hang on. Wasn't he only 17 in 1963?
Yeah.
He rocked up, buried a defender, top binged one, banged a Miss World, and went, I need a nightclub.
Yeah, that is weird. He can't have owned it when he was 17.
Here's what Google says. The club was opened in 63 by Manchester United legend George Best and called Slack Alice's for George to drink in. A few years later and many name changes later, we have 42s.
So is it... Check how old he was in 1963. That can't be legal, even if you've got money.
Was he... Right. At
the
risk of sounding obtuse, did he own it? When it says it opened by him, it doesn't mean literally he went and cut the ribbon.
Yeah, he might have just gone.
It was 17. No, I think it was his, yeah.
Right.
Mitts in the comments saying that they've sold the building.
Do you know what? Do you know the London Firehouse? London Road Fire Station?
No.
Anyway.
Go on, so we do.
All right.
Go on, yeah.
Oh, yeah, London Road Fire Station. Yeah, I love it.
Jay. I often find myself sitting in traffic at the side of it's basically the big fancy building next to Piccadilly train station. There's a door on the side, right? Obviously, it had different uses as a fire station. It was also a fire station headquarters, and there was all sorts going on. It's a big administrative building. It's a beautiful building in town, and I think it's going to be a hotel, which is the perfect use for it. But there's a sign on the side and a door. I think it's a basement, and it's the coroner's court. Because obviously there must have been like loads of coroners that needed to do different stuff, and the fire station house is a pretty good place for him to do that, because I imagine he was dealing with like loads of deaths and shit like that. But I've always thought the coroner's court is the best name I've ever heard for a club or a bar.
Well, that's what. Yeah, but you say that, but then when you've got a chance to open your own pub, you don't even call it that.
Okay. Another one as well. I think, Jay, did you go to Hacienda? Because you're a bit older than me, aren't you?
I went once, and it was sort of like, oh, let's go. I was only 16. Let's go to Hacienda. And my only memory of it is that it was roasted, and ice lollies were about a $5 in there.
When did it shut? 96, 97?
97, yeah. I was 16 in 96, and I went just before it shut.
Yeah, I was 13. There's not a prayer I was going to finger.
Oh,
I like that.
Viva Ronaldo.
There's a bar inside the Hacienda called the Liars Club.
There's also a bar in Manchester called the Liars Club.
Is there? Did someone jack it?
A tiki bar next to Crazy Pedro's down on just off Deansgate. My mate used to work in there.
What's that? What's the one near work called? That's next to NoHo. Is it a pawn shop?
Just till pawn.
Just till pawn. That's meant to be mega in there. I haven't been in there yet.
It's good for cocktails. It's expensive though.
Right. If everyone's allowed back next week, as we're theorizing could happen with the government in a bit, are we getting fucking twisted? Are we going to do a pub crawl? Are we going? Sorry, I mean, I'll rephrase that. Are we going supporting local businesses?
Pubs won't be open. No chance.
Pubs won't be open. Pubs not going to be open for a while.
Pubs and restaurants will be the last, I think.
We'd have to
what
be
about the ones doing takeaway?
Distancing.
You see the guy doing takeaway out of his boot with beers?
That sounds illegal as fuck. They're doing takeaway coffees around the corner. Like, that's necessary. So takeaway pubs won't be far behind if they're doing takeaway coffee.
And they said, like, if you've got a beer garden, you can open a pub.
Really?
I read that. I don't know if I invented it, though.
They're going to be proper limited with what you can open, though.
Yeah.
Give me, like, 20 people in with a cover. You have to pay to get into the pub.
Yeah, because also the difference is you're allowed to drink a cup of coffee on the street. You can't take a beer and drink it on the street legally, can you?
Well, maybe they changed that rule instead, then.
Yeah, drinking on the street is fine.
Yeah.
You can now drink in public libraries and that sort of thing, so reduce the strain on the pub.
It's social distancing, yeah? It has to be done.
Yeah, you can't get arrested because you're going to have to break social distancing. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, is it illegal to be arrested at the minute? It's not, is it?
No.
The police aren't allowed to touch you.
Yeah. Don't touch me.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can't.
The logic of this whole situation is very flawed.
Just want a beer with the fellas in the sun.
Oh,
do you know what? There's the old Bank of Bangladesh in Stevenson Square. It's the corner building right next to not next to where the little fucking outhouse thing is in the middle of Stevenson Square. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Yeah.
It used to be Mad Printing, I think, recently. If someone opens a bar there, and because that fucker at Rose Lee's have just gone right across, haven't they, with their seating? That's what someone needs there. Someone needs to make that because it's a proper sun trap. That.
Well,
that's a tea time beer o'clock. Yeah, make that a pedestrian zone. Let's get twisted.
Chairs 2 meters apart all over the place.
Yeah,
they close that street all the time. You know, they haven't done it for a while.
They close it every third Sunday of the month. There's a makers market where they sell the Cornish pasties and beads and shit. So if they can close it for that, close it for pubs. Close for.
Of course, you know about
that. For pubs because I live right next to it.
Of course, he knows about where you buy beads and fucking Cornish
pasties. The makers market scene as well. Yeah, sure. A couple former colleagues. Get over it.
Adam Wilmot says Blackpool used to be a right night out. Everywhere used to be a right night out.
I don't know, Blackpool, mate. Come on.
Mate, we did a trip last year we had to do Blackpool for one of the golf things we had to go and do. We stayed in this hotel called what's it called now?
Oh, did you play golf?
Yeah. What's it called now? This hotel.
Come on.
Anyway, it's like going into the Phoenix Club. They've got a cabaret and everything on 7:00 every single night. Full of pensioners.
Wait till I build Busby's.
Fantastic.
Yeah, girls like big like fans walking in.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Put them in the Pennine suite.
Yeah, exactly.
Pennine suite. I'm gonna have an Alpha Albison suite.
Yeah.
There was a comment I saw a minute ago that I was like, oh fucking hell, I should probably read that out. Oh, that was it, wasn't it? Joe lives next to everything. He lives in the city centre.
So yeah.
So I do sort of
Joe.
Yeah, duh. I've actually moved house recently. In case I told you about 40,000.
Oh, you went to Ancoats, haven't you?
Well, it's still technically Northern Quarter, although it is the other side of Great Ancoats Street. It's technically Northern Quarter. It's Oldham
Street. Can I tell them the distance you'd lived and now live away from work?
Sure.
Right. Was it 180 yards you used to live away from work?
No, it was 270 yards I used to live from work.
All right, but you're now 40 yards closer.
Yeah, so now it's 220 yards from work. Yeah, I live closer now.
You moved from one side of work to sort of like halfway around the clock.
Yeah.
But it's technically 40 yards closer.
Yeah, it's great. Just a 3.5 minute walk into work in the morning.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great. It's nice. Especially now I'm back in here because the internet's crap.
Yeah, you got no internet, have you?
Well, I have, but it drops all the time. So I can't stream or do anything like that. So I have to come into work until that's sorted.
Is it Virgin?
There's Now TV.
Never heard of that one.
Yeah, it's owned by Sky. Yeah, the best value, mate. 32 gig, meg, whatever, for 23 quid. Oh, sorry, that show's still on in the background. But yeah, it just drops out all the time, so I can't watch it. A quad bike just landed on someone, so I got a bit freaked out. I apologise. I ain't got a remote.
It's like Comedy Central.
Yeah, it's like their sort of we're a bit hard version of You've Been Framed.
Okay,
we're a bit
give the
hard.
video a like if you haven't got a fucking clue what's going on. Have I froze again?
Yeah.
Get it together, guys. Come on.
The time is nearly nigh for this fucking cam link, I think. Must have put absolute gigabytes through it.
Gigabytes. Someone says Joe measured it in yards. Yeah, I'll occasionally measure something in yards. Get over it. It's basically meters anyway.
Oh, yeah, come on. It's all yards.
A yard is 9/10 of a meter. So don't worry about it.
Darcy says, I suspect many places will open too quickly and cause a second outbreak.
Absolutely.
I think they want that.
Is there?
100%.
I think they want that. I think they want to me and Joe were talking about this earlier, weren't we? We were saying, I think they want to allow people to catch a manageable amount. Like Joe, they came in and was like, we're going to social distancing. We're going to take it on the chin. Remember them days?
Yeah.
About 7 weeks ago before they locked us up. I think there's going to be a reduced version of that. What they've done by locking us up for 6 weeks, they've took the momentum and the legs out of it. Because if we'd have done nothing, 6 weeks in now, we could have been all flavors of fucked. New York City is all flavors of fucked, and England could have looked like that. And it would have been really fucking horrendous and horrific. I think they want to start reigniting the economy a little bit and getting people back to work because yes, a lot of people dying is obviously and always going to be horrendous. But the poverty that could ensue following not restarting the economy could kill as many people. The joblessness, the homelessness, all that sort of knock-on effect could result in as many deaths as what the virus could result in ultimately if you just keep everyone locked down forever. So I think that they want to allow people to start going, getting stuff, and mixing and mingling. And if the virus is going to be getting out there, I think that they probably want a certain number of people to be getting it, not an overwhelming amount where it's just the entire fucking world gets smushed again. But if they allow people out and they're catching it and recovering at a manageable pace where the NHS doesn't get swamped, I think that they're all right with that. I think that's one of the reasons why we've seen all of these Nightingale hospitals built and people are going, well, they're fucking empty. What was the point in doing that? You'll find out in about 3 weeks.
Yeah.
You're probably going to be in one.
Yeah. Well, that sounds fun. Cheers for that.
Yeah, sounds good. On the
I've got my bag packed.
12 more Patreons for me to go full R9, apparently.
Who's fucking operating my fucking thing? Who's logged in as me?
It's not me today.
It's not me either.
What's that mean? 12 more Patreons for me to go full R9.
Well, at 50, is it 1500, Steve? You're doing.
Yeah, and we're at 1288, so that's
right. Sorry, right. You're
so it must be Cameron then because he can't count. That's it.
Yeah,
that makes much more sense.
Showing himself.
You having a thing at the front?
No, that was a lie.
You agreed to do that on the rundown. Don't you remember that?
Did you?
Yeah.
I mean,
well, these two don't remember it because they were that smashed. You said 1400. You'll do the R9 and then 1500. It's all gone.
Right. Okay. Well, we are 112 off it, not 12 off it.
Oh.
No, actually, no. Sorry. I apologize. It was 1350 R9. No. 1300 was curtains, undercut curtains. 1400 R9, 1500 full shaven. And the fun thing about that is you could be between 14 and 1500 for a couple of months. So we might be well back at work, and you've got an R9 going.
I think the caveat on that was that it happened that night, wasn't it?
No,
was it? No, there was no caveat.
No caveat
in on the rundown.
I wrote it down here.
No, you haven't.
No, you're not.
I was smashed, mate. I know I was smashed because I fell over when I woke up. That's how I know I was smashed. I don't know how much
of you trying to see your phone's belter. Where you
is that the one Janine put on Twitter?
Yep, belter that. Absolutely brilliant.
Oh yeah, I was full one eye in it like that. What's going on here?
Yeah.
That's when you're bad. That's when you're bad.
The message you sent me was just you with one eye open. Like, I think it was a good night.
So many spelling mistakes in the group chat as well.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, exactly.
Open your own pub, obviously.
Open your own pub.
And you're asking me to not drink again, you fucking assholes.
Daft.
Something happened, is it? No.
Should we talk about this director of football business?
I knew there someone do it.
It has been 35 minutes. It's worth mentioning, isn't it?
Go on,
yeah, go on.
I actually would like to talk about it a bit because we're not really spoken.
Joe, I'd like to talk about Joe.
Go on.
I think he's one of the most underrated crisp in the world.
I've never had them.
Neither have I.
Sensations are little Peking crackers. There's a bit of a kick to them. They're crunchy. I'm going to demonstrate how crunchy they are by crunching one into the microphone.
An excuse for Steve to eat crisps, ladies and gentlemen. Scientifically, listen how crunchy these are.
Right, you've got to go with because they're a bit of a kick to them, right? This is a cooling aid, which I'm going to call a dip. I invented it. What you're going to do is you're going to take your chip and you're going to dunk it in like that, and then you're going
to the first knuckle of your finger.
Then you're going to insert it into your face. That's how crunchy that is.
Very nice.
And so people thought we were going to talk about football.
No,
wow.
Peking spare rib.
Oh, spare rib.
On this edition of Howson ASMR.
Yeah.
Are they vegetarian, Steve?
Just start crunching through some Peking duck sensations. The as I said, mango and lime poppadom version of those are quite nice.
I prefer the coriander one personally.
Right. Where would it tell me if it was vegetarian?
It has a little V on it, a little green V in a square, suitable for veterinarians.
Yeah, it mentions vegetarians.
Not suitable for?
It says not suitable for vegetarians.
Oh, well, that's a shame, isn't it?
Do you know what it's got? It's got 26%. This is where it's all coming from. Tapioca is one of the main ingredients. Then it's cassava. Have you ever had a cassava fry?
Cassava.
What's cassava?
I think it's like a foreign potato. Las iguanas do cassava fries, right? They will not. You'll never want a chip again if you had a cassava fry. They're outrageously good. Las iguanas, cassava fries. Tell them I sent you.
No, Brexit means
Brexit. Oh, I know what cassava is. It looks like a big branch from a tree. You'll have seen them before. It's like halfway between. Have you ever had? Do you know? Oh, I can't find you now. I've lost it.
See how I derailed him on a director of football talk then.
Yeah, we'll come back to it. Do you know the Asian radish that's sort of about this long?
Oh, they call it a yucca as well.
Imagine that covered in tree bark. That's what it looks like.
That's what
Cam saying, why are you saying chip, you freak? I apologise. I didn't mean to say chip. I thought I read chip on this. It's actually a cracker.
So United don't want a director of football anymore because all these
doesn't like it now.
Instead.
No. Anyway, that's interesting because the word from the club, I'm going to use the phrase, it is my understanding.
Nice.
The word on it is my understanding that they were never looking for a director of football. And I don't know why. They were always looking for a technical director. What's the difference, Steve? Not a fucking Scooby. Basically, it was going to be someone that sort of looks to manage the philosophy of the club across potentially more than one manager. It is my understanding that Mike Phelan might be doing a lot of that job anyway.
Right.
Hence why you don't always see him in the dugout. Have you noticed that? He's not always there.
Steve, what was the whole thing with the whole Patrice, Rio, Darren Fletcher thing then? What was all that about?
It is my understanding.
No, because I never got that. I
think we've got a new t-shirt
that would know, and they were like, "Well, it's all a bit confusing, like what all that was about."
Evra was offered the job,
right?
Rio was offered the job. I don't know if Darren Fletcher was offered the job. I suspect he was. It is my understanding that Evra thought the job was bullshit, and that maybe he said something to the words of, "He just want someone out here to take all the shit." maybe something like that.
He's essentially hiring someone so that when he made mistakes, they could say it's his fault.
Kinda, yeah. I think that's roughly the. I think Paddy would have jumped to
no input into the
no authority.
Right, that's the word. Yeah.
So basically, just a sort of a mouthpiece that is more kind of fan favorable,
more ambassadorial than actual.
Yeah.
Put it this way: Paddy Evra loves the club more than, or as much as me, you, any of us here, and any of you lot in the comments. I had one of my favorite ever conversations with Paddy off camera, shoulder to shoulder, smushed into the back of his fucking car in Marseille. Right? This sounds like a lie coming out my face, by the way, as I'm saying it to me. But I had a fucking amazing conversation with him. Paddy's obviously a silly cunt, right? And I say that in the nicest possible way because I'm a silly cunt, and Joe's a silly cunt, and Alex is a silly cunt. He plays golf, right? Everyone's a silly cunt. Evra's got that side to him where he can be silly. Evra's obviously also a winner. I didn't know about the winner side of Evra. You can theorize you don't get to the top level that he was without being a winner. It was something I had to ask some players that were getting coached by him. What's he like? Does he flash? And it was like, yeah, he fucking does flash. But I saw the heartfelt football love inside of Evra, and I loved it more than I could put into fucking words. When Evra was talking about Manchester United, it's like the conversations I have with my granddad, where there's no doubt where this guy's heart sits at all when it comes to this football club. I asked him, we were stuck in traffic for about 2.5 hours, right? And I asked him every fucking question you would ever want to ask Paddy Evra. off record, and I got an answer. And I got an answer about some stuff that I didn't expect, and I got an answer about some stuff that I thought was going to go one way and totally went a different way. And he answered everything. He answered every single question I had. I asked him about Suarez, and his answer surprised me. I think he's genuinely forgiven the guy. I asked him about David Moyes, and his answer surprised me. He didn't rip into him. I thought he was going to tear into him, and he was just like, I tried to protect him. Some of the stuff he's saying was mad. I asked him every single question that you wanted to ask him about. I asked him about other players. I asked him about what he wants to do in the future. And he said, Fergie told him he'll be a manager one day. And he goes, when Sir Alex Ferguson tells you something, you just do it. So I'll be a manager one day. I'll do my badges and I'll be a manager. I asked him about that rumor that his difficult start, how he fell in love with the club and how he took the club to heart and what he did to integrate himself in at United. And he sort of slagged off a couple of players, I'm not going to name them, who didn't do that, who didn't fully accept and enthrall themselves in the club the way he did. And I said, is it true that you used to just like go into the museum and stuff like that? And he goes, yeah, but he goes, I did more than that. And I said, all right. He goes, what'd you do? He goes, I just used to take Bobby Charlton out for dinner and then just ask him every question I could think of. And I'm like, that's amazing. And when he tells you this is a special club and this is his club, you believe it with every fiber of your being. And that serious side to Evra, that passionate leadership side, that the reason Sir Alex Ferguson gave that guy an armband wasn't a fucking accident. It wasn't a lack of choice like we might have at the moment. It's because that this guy fucking loves this football club more than ever. There's also another time that I spoke to him about Manchester United. And I find it very interesting how the things he was talking about, we are sort of seeing. And he said, identity is important. Now, a lot of people criticize the way certain people go, the Brexit FC side of the way United are doing stuff. Paddy told me that's what United should do 2 years ago. United need to go back. He goes, when I was a player there, they had all of the best players were the English players. He said, and all the best players in the England team were United players. And it was like Rooney, Rio, Carrick, Scholes. All of the players that was England were Manchester United. And he's like, because they get the club. And I was saying to him, well, why is that important? And I literally said, you got the club. You're not fucking English. You're not homegrown. But look, no, he's over Joe's shoulder there. We put him on our fucking wall. He got that club. And he said, there's something about buying British players that they'll get it. He goes, sometimes foreign players, he goes, this isn't the end of the line for them. But when you get people in where this is the end of the line for them, they'll give you an extra couple of percent. He goes, and that extra couple of percent can be enough. He says, but they've got to have the quality in. And he went off into different directions and stuff like that. And the director of football stuff, when you saw him sitting next to Ed Woodward, that was why. He was being moved into position for that. And then something happened and he told him to fuck off.
Do you think now then the reason in theory that they've given up on this role, whether they have or haven't, the reports coming out that they have, do you think that is just because the sort of 6 or 7 people that in mind for it have all said no? And they're just sort of like, well, at this point we'd be giving it to, Anderson and we don't want to do that.
I don't know why they felt the need to go down the very obvious ambassadorial route with this. They've done that with the coaching staff. Obviously, you've got Ole, you've got Mike Phelan, you've got Carrick. McKenna's different, but the coaching staff has a very old school United flavour. Nicky Butter's the first team development manager or director, whatever the fuck his title is. He's obviously a very old school United connection. I don't know why you need the director of football, the technical director, to be an old school United connection. You need, like Gary Neville said, you need the best in class. You need the guy with the best contacts. You need Paul Mitchell. You need someone like that. I know Marcel Boot's doing different stuff. I don't actually know the full scope of his role. But if you're going to get in a technical director, I don't see why it has to be someone with ambassadorial duties. I would love a backroom of ambassadors like Evra Cantona Beckham. And you go, hey, lads, we're trying to sign this guy. Go knock on his fucking door.
Well, it's kind of the way.
See them standing there, you go, what was I?
You need that though. Sometimes of someone who's not just about United and not come through United and not all that. Like if you look in that, we talk about '99. McLaren came in, nothing to do with United. 2006, Quaidod comes in, nothing to do with United, just a different way of thinking. Do you know what I mean? And if it's all just jobs for the boys, regardless of your experience, then you're doomed to fail. And don't get me wrong, I'm glad we've got Paddock and McKenna and even Dempsey. I think was at United, wasn't he? And obviously Ole. But then I love Darren Fletcher, love him. Sort of player that you'd always love to see get stuck in. But what's in his CV to make you think that he'd be the director of football, be a good director of football? Nothing. Do you know what I mean? So it's not just about just giving it to he used to be a good player for United, so let's just give him this role. And I think sometimes you'd have to mix it up a bit. You don't just want all ex-United players, regardless of their experience, because
do you think
that's problematic for me.
Do you think they've come in and kind of with Phelan coming back and with like Ole coming in, and it looks like whatever plan they've kind of sat down and gone, this is how we need to do stuff, that finally I think they've kind of gone, yeah, that is what we need to do now. We need to buy this kind of player. We need to do this. Do you think that they think that they've now got that, at least that structure in place, or at least a plan set forward, even if there isn't got someone there doing it? Do you think they've now just got, well, do you know what? Even if Ole left, even if Mick Phelan left, even if Carrot left, I think we know what we need to do with everything. I think we can see what was successful even under the Glazers early on, the players that we would sign, even you can doubt what, the players that got signed under the Glazers for Fergie. We know what those players are now, and we can see that pattern. Do you think that they've kind of gone, if Ole left, Mick Phelan might stay around, or we know we've got the people around that kind of understand this a bit better now. Maybe we've just, they were capable people. Maybe Woodward and all these lads were capable people of doing this job, but were just so wrong in the way they thought of going about it. And these lads have kind of just gone, look, this is how you need to do it. And whether we're here or not, this is how things need to be
Who's
done.
enforcing it then? If they're not here, who is enforcing that mindset? Is it Woodward? Is it back to the Glazers then? Because the situation you find yourself in then, whilst I like the idea that we have a certain structure that is the club's way of doing things, and you have people like managers who come and fit that way of doing things, there are other clubs that do that. But then is it back to Woodward then, that the power goes back to Woodward when Solskjaer leaves, and then you've got Woodward telling a new manager who you can and can't buy? That seems like a slippery slope to me. That's where I worry about. I like this idea.
People in the comments saying Van der Sar, and I think the Van der Sar thing is maybe a long term. I think he's probably on. For me, he should be on the list of like up there with, because he literally has that experience.
Yeah, at least with him. I know I've just slightly contradicted myself and saying I don't want it just old jobs for the boys, but at least with Van der Sar, he's got that experience. He's got someone on his CV that says why he would be good for that role, rather than he was just very good when he played for Manchester United. So I get that one. But it's when you start going down the route of players who've got zero experience of it, other than they were good for United, that I start thinking, well, what's the logic here? And this is a bit worrying.
You take the fact with no director of football, I would have thought that having a director of football was kind of establishing the fact that maybe Solskjaer's not going to stay for like a long period. Maybe the backroom staff's not going to stay for a long period. And if we want to keep the mentality forward, or we want to keep a philosophy of signings and stuff, if we have a director of football in place for the next 5, 6, 7 years, then if we change managers and we do that, we can at least keep that in. Solskjaer has shown with the signings that he's chose that he's happy, and he's happy with who he's chosen, and he's picked good signings. So maybe they're thinking, well, we can trust the manager, we can trust Phelan to do that sort of thing. We don't need to bring in another element.
You know what? It's not even the signings that worry me as much. It's more, I think, the way we've been going the last year or so, especially under Ole. What we need in terms of continuity is the way we're nurturing the youngsters. I think that's more important than even the signings. I think you look at players like Brandon Williams, like Mason Greenwood, even Marcus. Marcus spoke about it when Van Gaal left. He felt he lost a little bit of something because Van Gaal trusted him, and then he was moved around a lot. Ole's obviously, I think Ole, regardless of what you think of him as a manager, he's handled the youngsters brilliantly. I think he has. Absolutely spot on, absolutely perfectly. And I think if he's chopping and changing managers, making these signings is all well and good, but we've got a real talent here, some really talented youngsters, and we need to make sure the continuity is there and they're getting nurtured in the right way. And we don't just have a manager who comes in, a bit like Jose did, with a piece of paper saying, "Oh, I've brought in 45 youngsters in my time," which was a load of bollocks.
Yeah.
And then gives Marcus 5 minutes every now and again. It's like, look, I've got faith in youth. We need someone who's going to continue doing what Ollie's been doing, because Ollie obviously does give a toss about the academy players, about the under 16s or whatever. He goes to those games, he nurtures them properly, even at his own expense at times. When he knows longer term, it's better to just hold Mason back a bit when the pressure's on him, and it might be tempted to just keep throwing him in. So that's one thing I worry about. This sort of continuity thing is the next guy that comes in after Ollie is someone else, or director of football has to have one eye on that. We can't just have another.
Which is why a director of football has to be someone that's looking out for the long-term version of the club, that works with and plans for after the current manager. Because let's be real with ourselves, Ollie's not doing 26 years. He's not. No. Right? He's not. Like, the average football manager manages for 29 games. That's it. That's the average. The average football manager lasts 29 games. You can pretty much say the chances of him being here at the end of next season are not good, right? The season after that, even lower. The season after that, even lower. If he got to 5 years as a United manager, sensational. He'd probably have to win a title to do that. It's not likely that he's going to get to that. The game has changed. Patience has gone, and I don't think that's a good thing, because I think what managers do take so long to implement that you're asking people, like, we was discussing this. We might have been discussing this on air actually the other day. It might have been in one of the podcasts I did, talking about when De Boer went in at Crystal Palace. De Boer's from the Ajax school of how to play football. Who did he follow at Crystal Palace that set him up and allowed him to implement his style of play? Pulis, Allardyce, Holloway. I think it might not have been Roy Hodgson.
No, Hodgson came after him there.
Pardew it was, right? Yeah. It was the most Brexit set of tossers you could have found, and a team set up to play Brexit football, and you bring in a guy that's from the Ajax philosophy, and you give him 75 days, was it?
Like that.
I think it was 9 games of the season he got.
Right.
He didn't stand a chance.
Was it shit?
He didn't win any of them. Like.
Yes.
Yeah, he lost. He didn't even get a point, did he? Didn't he lose every game?
But you have to. They came out and said, "We know this is a long-term project. We're expecting a bit of a drop before we come back up." But they didn't have the bottle to be able to hold the eye contact while it was being bad, and then they reverted back.
I think it's tougher for them clubs to do it, because it's one of them. Like, we've had a fucking big drop off for United, and the worst we've got is 7th. Like, Palace, if they have that drop off, could be in League One. Like, you can see like, it's not hard to do what Sunderland did. You drop down, then you don't quite get it right, you drop down again, and you're in major shit there. So if you leave it a month too late with a manager like that, like, you're in.
But where do you want to be as a football club? What are Crystal Palace trying to be? Are they trying to be a top 10 club? The best way to be a top 10 club is to be an organic one.
Yeah. You mentioned about the disparity of like the top teams and everything like that. It's because the ones in the middle do very, very well and pay a lot and get a lot of money in, and owners do very well by just sitting in that middle bit. They don't need to get into Europe. They just need to not get relegated for 5-6 years, and they're making enough money. You know, Leicester are the only. Leicester, the way they dropped down and then went, no, we need to build. We've got a plan, and we're going to do it. There's not many that have done that, and you've seen the success that they've done now. They took that risk, and they kind of did that drop down, and they got them players in.
They're a bit of an exception though, aren't they, Leicester? Because people forget they've got rich owners as well. I know they sell players, but they've got billionaire owners. So
there are a few teams that have sort of. Wolves are another one that are kind of overachieving in terms of. But again, they've got this weird
Chinese billionaire owners and George Mendes.
To be honest, they kind of took them risks in the Championship. They took them risks and let that happen. They knew that they could stay in the Championship. They took them risks, built the foundation there. Same as Burnley. Burnley did all those years in the Championship where they kind of went, look, let's get everything set, make sure we've got the training facilities, make sure we've got the players, and then we'll try and get ourselves back up there, rather than get in the Premier League and just go, I'm going to cling on for dear life, which is what most
yo-yo thing destroys a club. It erodes who you are as a football club. It erodes all of your identity, because you're going to spend big in the Championship to get yourself back into the Premier League. You're going to gamble hard in the summer, buying a couple of players that have come for the money alone to try and keep you up. When that fails, half of your team fucks off, and you can't afford the other half, and you have to start again every single time. It's not sustainable. When you look at the way Bournemouth came into it, Bournemouth didn't do that. Bournemouth came in with a very League One looking team, pretty much, and went, "This is who we are, and we'll try and expand slowly and logically." And the fact that they're still in the Premier League is mental, really, when you think about it.
It is. But again, though, they've had, in relative terms, a lot of money for the size of that club. They've had they spend like 80, 90 million quid every summer.
Oh, recently they did. I don't think they did that prior to that.
You do have to spend a lot of money.
I think, like, you look at some clubs, like a good example is Norwich. Norwich got promoted to like quicker than they expected and didn't change their approach to it. They didn't actually spend much money. They went, right, this is our long-term plan, and we're going to stick to it even though we've been promoted because it was like we weren't expected to get promoted straight away. They just did. So I get where you're coming from. I think some clubs have a philosophy and stick to it, but some of these clubs that we laud a little bit are fortunate in the sense that they've got that little bit of money in terms of a backer where, you know, your Burnleys, as Alex was saying, they haven't got anyone. Do you know what I mean? They've got Sean Dyche, really.
Well, even Sheffield United, who seem like they're doing that League One style, their wages were higher than their income, I think, last season. So even they were taking a big gamble, and they seem like
they gambled. They gambled. An
organic team where they're spending a lot of money.
That's who shagged with the virus, because League One, League Two, Championship, and probably the Premier League, loads of clubs, and even FC United, there was something on FC United have lost probably $250,000 because obviously a very well supported non-league club, probably projected on having X number of games and a rough average amount of fans. Not going to have that now without games behind closed doors. If they even get that, they're fucked. You know, they've set their budget according to having X number of fans. They don't have a shirt sponsor. It's part of their constitution to be, you know, a little bit different in the way they operate. They rely heavily on that sort of sponsorship. And teams who did what Sheffield United did last season, that maybe gamble and pay 110% of their income on wages, which doesn't include all the other things that you got to pay for, they're going to be fucked because they've committed to high wages and now have had their incomes absolutely taken out of the knees.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same around that way. Earlham FC, my local team, is struggling. And it's a shame because a lot of the youngsters around here, that's their way into football. You know, you go to Earlham FC and you play for their under 10s, under 11s, or whatever. And, you know, I know it's not like low non-league level, but it's killing him having no games. It is. They're asking for help. You know, you forget that sometimes in all the, United and the Scousers and all that stuff. A lot of these clubs down the league, they're in deep shit.
Big time. Should we wrap it up there?
On that cheery note.
Yeah.
Cheery. No conspiracy theories this week, though. That's good. Did well.
That's the start. Well done, lads.
That was Thursday, wasn't it?
What was the conspiracy theory on Thursday? I missed that.
I don't know.
Did you have Dejan Lovren on your show?
I've seen that before. Wow. Oh.
Wait. Shut up, you knob.
Dejan Lovren thinks the coronavirus is fake, and it's to get people to give vaccines out and stuff. There you go.
Okay, then.
Here's the thing I don't get with all this conspiracy.
He's the best centre back in the world. So.
And is that though?
Well, yeah, that's the biggest conspiracy theory I've ever heard.
So I was already questioning his judgment before, and that's just kind of confirmed my theory on it.
Do you know they say that it's the government, they want us to keep us in, it's to control us? What does the government get by having us all in our houses? What fun is that for like the Rockefellers? Oh, everyone's in the houses.
Broadband. That's
we love it, don't we? Who gives a shit? Why would they want that?
Big broadband's making bank.
We're not paying.
Everyone's realising how terrible the broadband is.
It's worse for broadband companies. We're paying the same contracts and we're using more data. They're hating it.
Big Netflix it is, and big stream.
Yeah, big Zoom, big Sky.
Is it Last Dance tonight?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, yeah!
Just reminded me.
Apparently, episode 5 is meant to be amazing, according to a journalist.
Last night about what I'm thinking about The Last Dance, and we didn't answer the question. So if that person is still watching, I'll answer it now. What do I think of Dennis Rodman in The Last Dance? Dennis Rodman, I've always been a bit contrarian, right? Dennis Rodman was who I liked out of the Bulls. Didn't like Michael Jordan. It's too obvious I like Michael Jordan. He's the fucking greatest player who's ever played the game. If you're I don't know how many of you know I played top level rugby, academy level rugby until I was 21. I was a lunatic and I modelled the way I played on the way Dennis Rodman played. Less nail varnish, less leopard print hair.
See, I want the fashion of Dennis Rodman and you want the attitude of Dennis Rodman.
Yeah.
Can you do that, Joe?
You are?
Leopard print hair. Is that the next
I do leopard print hair. I do the big sort of the red sort of fur coats and nail varnish.
Out in Vegas with Carmen Electra wouldn't have been bad either.
Yeah, exactly. We have to stay home so we can change the batteries and the pigeons.
That might be my favorite internet thingy as well.
Yeah, it's good. A good
pigeons aren't real.
Pigeons aren't real.
Mark says, nice to see some of the lads together today. We can get one more on.
And it's amazing how when we're sober, we talk over each other a lot less. It's almost coherent today.
Yeah, it probably was pretty coherent, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Nice.
Hang on, is he having a laugh? The man who's told everyone ever about him cutting his head.
Yeah.
I didn't know Joey Barton.
I just played football. That's the only sentence.
I think everything I know about Cam, I've heard at least 10 times.
Yeah, because he's only got 3 things. He played football. His dad was in the army, and he cut his head open. That is it. Oh, and he's got diabetes in his finger.
Joey Barton, apparently. You know who Joey Barton is? Yeah. Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, I played with him, mate. Played on the pitch with him in a charity game.
He kicked a ball to me once when he walked across a pitch. That's what.
He was trying to kick it at a child, but I was in the way.
Right.
That's not true. Everyone. That isn't true.
Yeah, we're going to wrap it up there. Cheers for tuning in. As always, make sure to subscribe. The Paddock merch, which I think is linked below, is at the sweatshop's back open, everybody. So if you would like to then go for it. I was up till midnight last night putting stickers on boxes and things like that. So enjoy that and go and see what merch is out on sale. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Laters.